Hey everybody, welcome to Dad's Den of Pop Culture. Quick video today to look at a toy that I recently picked up on an auction on the Goodwill site. It was one of those situations where the item really didn't have any bids on it. I was at least mildly interested, curious in it, and so I threw in a minimum bid, and lo and behold, I actually won. So the toy in question is the Disney Store Ultimate, actually let me do this way, Ultimate Black Widow. Now as you can see, it bears some resemblance to Scarlet Johansson, a little bit of resemblance to her, and yet at the same time, probably not enough so that Disney had to pay her for her image, because that's the Disney way. That's how they do things. So the figure looked, even in the relatively small image that I had in front of me, it looked pretty good and worth taking a look at. I think the only thing that kept me from really wanting it was that it's a 10-inch figure, and most of the stuff I have is in the 8 to 9-inch category, so it's a little larger scale. But I went ahead and threw in that minimum bid and I got it. And I gotta say, I am quite impressed with the figure. So let's see, let me do a little bit of a turnaround here. So as you can see, we have a pretty nice face sculpt here. The costume is, I would call it like, it's a little upscale, is that really the word I want? It's a little better than your average fabric costume. Now, she comes with a whole variety of add-ons. You can see she's wearing the Black Widow stingers, I think they're called, and they have this sort of blue lightning effect, which I really was hoping was going to be something that could be easily removed, because it seems silly to have her holding that all the time. But from what I can tell, no, it does not easily come off of those things. Now the hands are removable. There is another pair of hands that come with the figure. Well, the foot is actually removable, which I did on accident. She comes with a couple of these little pistols. They go in these holsters. They fit in there very nicely. And let's see, I'm going to just lay this figure down for a moment. We also get this sort of high-tech looking, I don't know, rifle. Maybe it's like a laser gun. They like to do laser guns these days because they worry about children. We also get these two cool little glow sticks that go with her. So not too many accessories, enough that you could do some cool things with it. The figure is very posable from what I can tell, including even like the toes on the boots. We'll even curve up a little bit so you could, have her in a kind of more of a crouched stance like we saw in some of the movies. It's a very impressive action figure. Now, it was produced in 2017, and from what I can tell, the line also supports one other character, and that is Captain America, who I believe comes with a couple hand swap outs and the shield, and that's about all. The Black Widow, say on eBay, is going to run you, without shipping, it looks like generally $25 to maybe $35. Captain America figure goes, from what I've seen, maybe more like $45 to $65. Because of the quality being so high, it's kind of sad they didn't do more characters. from the MCU, because they do have a sort of it's like a little combination of the traditional Marvel Comics version of the character and the movie version of the character, maybe leaning a little bit more towards the comic book version. So yeah, so they look pretty nice, higher quality figures, very posable. But from what I can tell, they probably didn't sell that well. I believe the price point was about $40. So for a very posable, higher quality figure that has a very good sculpt, $40 is pretty darn good. But I get the feeling that Disney was trying to sell these in the Disney store. And the Disney store is primarily going to sell to children. And I don't think most adults probably wanted to pay around $40 for an action figure for kids that was going to get destroyed. They have those Titan figures, kind of cheap plastic. You could see where you'd much rather spend less money for those than for these, and maybe collectors just didn't grok them or didn't find them, whatever the case may be. But they are both nice figures, and a Thor, Hulk, Iron Man would have been welcome additions. I might get the Captain America at some point if I could find it at a reduced price. I don't really need it, so I don't know that I will. Now, just for a comparison's sake, in the past I've shown off the Marvel Famous Covers figures. They were from like about 20 years earlier, and you can see sort of the difference here between the two figures. You can see this is much more upscale. It has the zipper on the costume. It has, more items with it. And again, the Famous Covers, they had sort of the 90s affliction in terms of the face sculpts. They're a little more extreme. I think you get a prettier version of the character with this Disney Store Ultimate, whatever. The names for these figures are getting longer and longer. But it's a more attractive sculpt. The hair is sort of stuck in this shape. I can kind of remember some of the Barbies my daughter got a long time ago being like that, which I think is fine if you're displaying it. Again, with little kids playing with it, it's probably going to get destroyed. So 10-inch figures, Black Widow, Captain America. If you're a Marvel fan, if you're an MCU fan, you can go out and find these. Again, this one much more affordable. Probably, again, because if they're selling it to kids, it's going to primarily be boys that want these action figures, and boys will tend to go towards the male action figures and not the female. That's always been a problem that like Mego had back in the 70s and 80s. For the collector's market, of course, not a problem. And it's a really good figure. I think it's worth going out and finding, and makes a nice display piece. And again, it's very posable, so you can do, cool action poses with the character. So not a bad auction pickup. I'm pretty happy with it overall. Wasn't something I expected to get, but you never know. And I got a decent price. So there you go. That's Dad's Den today with the almost Scarlet Johansson, but not so close that you had to pay her, Black Widow action figure, Disney Ultimates. A nice piece of work, and I would highly suggest collectors go out and find one. Hey, if you enjoyed this video, please like, please subscribe, please share with your friends. And in the meantime, I hope you have a blessed day. I hope you're kind to one another, and try to go out there and have some fun. I will see you next time on Dad's Den of Pop Culture.